You must have wondered what's the difference between two very similar terminologies. For example, obligatory precaution and recommended precaution. Whenever we read books of laws, especially when it comes to the Risala Amaliya, we tend to find two terminologies which people don't tend to pay much attention to, but have very different conclusions when adhered to. We find the terminologies of ihtiyat wajib and ihtiyat mustahab, recommended precaution and obligatory precaution. What are these two terminologies? What do they mean? And what do we understand from them? Let us firstly understand what ihtiyat means. Ihtiyat in Arabic means to take precaution or protection, to take protection from that which we are unaware of. When we in fiqh say that we should take precaution, it means that we are opting for that which we are certain of against that which we are uncertain of. For example, if I was at a restaurant and I was given a certain fish, if I believe that there are only certain types of fish that I can eat, and after investigation I'm still unsure as to whether I can or cannot eat this fish, I would naturally take precaution. I would not eat the fish. Why? Because I am certain that in not eating it is God's pleasure. Rather, I am uncertain, on the other hand, that eating it will bring about the pleasure or the displeasure of God. This is what taking precaution means when it comes to fiqh. When we find within the books of jurisprudence that an edict is a recommended precaution, we have the choice to act upon it or to refrain from it. Neither causes and brings about the displeasure of God. But when we find something is an obligatory precaution, we have to ensure that we act upon it unless there is certain proof to the opposite. And this is where one is permissible, therefore, to follow another mujtahid, another individual who is also knowledgeable when it comes to the extrapolation of law through Quran and Hadith. To give an example of both, when we see within the books of jurisprudence that it is permissible to touch the names of the ma'sumeen without wudu as a precaution, despite the fact that the jurist doesn't mention recommended precaution, we understand this from the context because the precaution is related to the action or the fatwa. However, when we find a fatwa and we find the word precaution mentioned where there's no relation, for example, that it is not permissible to touch the wordings of the Quran without wudu, and as a precaution one should not touch the name of God either, we realize that this precaution here, which is not related to the first fatwa which is mentioned, becomes an obligatory precaution. Finally, to conclude our understanding, when a mujtahid, a jurist, exerts his utmost effort in trying to conclude a specific law, but doesn't find certainty in his conclusion, he stops there and he says that this is now an obligatory precaution, either to refrain or to act upon it, simply because he hasn't been able to arrive at certainty. And for that reason, he mentions that if you want to act upon it or if you want to refrain from it, then I require that you follow somebody who has certainty in the action, because I have not been able to achieve this station as of yet.